for this webinar. My name is Kaylee and I will be your host. And we are going to be talking about our internship program in Europe today. So the format of this webinar, we're going to start out just kind of some background information about the Intern Group. Then we'll dive into our European destinations. And after that, we'll go over some commonly asked questions and some of the reward programs. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll first start a little bit about the Intern Group and who we are. We are an award-winning social enterprise, and we take applicants from all over the world, and we significantly improve their skills and their employability with an international internship placement. We have full-time teams in all of our program locations to assist our interns, to help them with their placement process, get their housing organized, help them with their visas. So that makes our program a bit unique, that we do have full-time staff who live in our destinations. And we were founded in 2011. So since then, we've had thousands of alumni over the years come through our program. And you can see here as well that we partner with some of the top universities in the world. Also, you can see the logos here for LSE, the London School of Economics, and also the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, are just two of them. We work with leading companies, governments, and even NGOs in our 9 program destinations. So again, today we'll be talking specifically about our European destinations, which there are 4 of them, but in total we do have 9 destinations around the world. So I've broken how the program works, I guess how the process works, into 3 kind of basic steps. So of course there's going to be more details kind of smushed in between those 3 steps, but just a basic breakdown would be step 1. You would apply online through our website and book an interview with our admissions team. So the interviews take about 25 minutes and they are on Skype. And then step 2, if your interview was successful and you were invited to join the program, you would confirm your placement by paying your deposit, which I will talk about a little bit later on today. And then step 3 would be to pack your bags and get ready for your international experience. So when can you go? We are not only a summer program. I know this webinar is kind of targeted towards the summer, but we actually have start dates year-round, and they're typically on the first Saturday of every month. So they do vary a bit depending on the destination, and you can see those of all the destinations start dates on our website. In Europe, we have durations that vary between a 6-week minimum to a 6-month maximum. And we accept our applications on a rolling basis, meaning there is no set deadline to apply, but really we place our interns on a kind of a first come, first serve basis. So because of that, I always recommend applying at least 4 to 5 months in advance because the placements do fill up quickly. Our program includes more than just an internship, but of course the first thing that's included is that placement. So all of our accepted applicants are guaranteed a placement with an internship in their career fields of choice, and they go through an entire placement process that I'll go into a little bit more detail later on as well. But they also include accommodation, so our interns live in either shared apartments or shared residential halls, depending on their location and also the time of year. But they always have their own private bedroom within that either apartment or residential hall. And then I mentioned before, we have full-time staff who live in all of our destinations. So you would have emergency support from that staff who live there. You have access to them 24/7. We also include different professional development tools. We have training and a workshop available, and cultural immersion. So we do different cultural excursions. We have meetups and events organized by experienced coordinators who are part of our staff and part of our team in each of our destinations. Airport pickup and drop-off are also included. So our interns are awaited at the airport with a private vehicle that would take them to their accommodation, and visa assistance. So that the visa can be a little bit daunting, but we do have our staff who walk each of our interns through that process step by step and really show them exactly how to obtain the proper visa they would need and how to get that in a timely fashion so that it would be valid during the time of their internship. Here is a graphic of our career fields that are available. So again, each applicant can choose 2 of them on their application. And if they are successful in their interview, they're guaranteed an internship placement between those 2 fields. So you can see here we have really a wide variety between marketing, PR, to fashion and TV and film, to NGOs and government and politics. So there's pretty much something that would suit everybody, and you can again choose 2 of those. If you don't have 2 that you like, you can choose 1 if you want. Kind of going into a little bit more detail in terms of the professional development tools. We have these training workshops that are designed to enable our participants to talk with confidence, to control body language, to build confidence in the workplace, but also for interviews. These are super helpful. And we also partner with DDI International. So that's going to be the HR assessment that's provided for each intern. And that's a workplace personality and skills assessment. And this assessment is designed to have each person just become a little bit more self-aware on what kind of worker they are, what their strengths are, maybe some weaknesses they can work on to make themselves a better employee, and in this case, a better intern. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our programs in Europe. So we have 4 of them again, and we'll start here with Madrid. So you can see that in the photo. Madrid is our Center for European Business, and it's home to many multinational companies. So you can see it's a very historic city based on just the building architecture, but it's also very modern. It is our hub for architecture. So there's just kind of a fast history in terms of the buildings and the structures for them. So we always, recommend this location for architecture interns, but it's also a great location for hospitality and tourism, for PR and marketing, for IT, and entrepreneurship and business as well. When it comes to the events that are planned, we do a traditional Spanish dinner with a flamenco show. So that is the national dance of Spain, UNESCO site of Toledo as well, and a tour of the Real Madrid football stadium. Our participants in Madrid will receive access to the metro and the bus network for 1 full month. So that would be the first 4 weeks of free access to the public transportation, which is really helpful in terms of acclimating to the city, kind of around, of course, going to and from your internship. So that's included for those first 4 weeks. And then we do have that emergency support from our staff who live in Madrid. We will move on to London now. So you can see in the photo in the upper right-hand corner, there is that logo there, and our London program was actually a finalist for the Best Work Experience Provider for the Global Youth Travel Awards for 2016. So that was a very cool honor for us to have. But London itself is the largest city and the biggest economy in Europe. So it is our center, again, for business, for finance internships. It's a great location. PR and marketing, entrepreneurship, NGOs, and fashion are also very strong hubs for us there. The events that are included, we do a London Eye experience, which you can see the London Eye there in the photo along the river. We also do a guided tour down the River Thames. An afternoon tea experience to really get that tea culture that the UK is famous for, and a night at the West End Theatre. And our interns in London receive an Oyster card, which is going to be the public transportation card. And that gives them unlimited access to the tube or the subway and the bus network of London. And that's going to be unlimited access. So no matter if you're there for 6 weeks or 6 months, you would have unlimited access to the tube and to the bus with that Oyster card provided with your program. And of course, our staff who live there are able to also provide any emergency support or even just day-to-day support. If our interns have a question on, where to go for dinner that night, our team is always available to help them in that sense too. Okay, so we'll move on to Berlin, which is a new program for us in 2017. So we will have our first group of interns arriving in March, actually. Now, Germany, and Berlin specifically, the capital of Germany, is known for having many thriving industries. But for us, it really stands out as a hub for the arts and different creative sectors, as well as IT and entrepreneurship. There's a huge startup community in Berlin, so it's a great location for those 2 fields, as well as business. And our internship in this location includes a day trip to Potsdam and an alternative tour of Berlin, as well as an evening at the Charlottenburg Palace with a tour of that palace, followed by a dinner and then a concert at the Berlin Residence Orchestra with the Berlin Residence Orchestra. Our interns in Berlin would receive unlimited use of the public transportation for 1 month again. So that's kind of just to acclimate yourself, get to know the city, and you would have that free for the 1 full month. And then the emergency support from our staff is available standard throughout all of our destinations. Okay, and we will wrap up with Dublin, which is also a new program for us in 2017. We'll have, again, our first group of interns arriving this month in March. So Dublin actually was coined the Silicon Valley of Europe due to the fact that there are a lot of offices there for global technology giants, including Microsoft and Google, Amazon, Facebook, and eBay. So they all have their European headquarters in Dublin. And for that reason, we specialize in business and in IT, PR and marketing as well in Dublin, and also public health. Our excursions include a trip to the Guinness Storehouse, an Epic Ireland Museum experience, which is an interactive museum that kind of goes over the history of Ireland and immigration and immigration as well. So it's a really cool event. We do a tour of the Dublin Castle, a day trip to the Cliffs of Moher, and also an Irish literary night. And then the same as Berlin and Madrid, our interns in Dublin will receive unlimited use of the public transportation for their first month and staff support 24/7. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about what's included in our programs and where we're located in Europe, why should you even go to Europe and why should you intern abroad specifically? So I've kind of listed some points here. First, the professional international experience. You would receive firsthand knowledge in your career field, not on a domestic or national scale, but on a global scale. So that's really a boost to your CV or your resume to have that. Now, outside of the professional development, personally, when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone, leaving your friends and family, arriving into a new country, that's going to be a huge way to develop and grow as a person. So that's another important factor in the program. Cultural immersion, awareness of different cultures, really insight into how locals live and how they work is also a factor in kind of why you should intern abroad and why you should have an international experience. And then all these together really do make each of our interns and each of our alumni stand out. So international experience is very unique and it's sought after on a CV or a resume. So why should you choose the intern group then? Well, we provide personalized placement process for each of our interns with our expert teams. So if you were to be accepted into the program and confirm your spot, you would then go through the placement process where you would find your host organization for the internship. So again, if you are accepted, you're guaranteed a placement in your fields, and then you would meet with a placement coordinator to really go over and collaborate your background, your experiences, your educational history, your future career ambitions. We take all those factors into consideration when it comes to the placements. We are highly focused on the professional development, but alongside of that, the cultural immersion. So you're really getting two kind of different things all rolled up into one program with the professional internship internationally. And we have a leading reputation as a provider of international internships. You can see here from goabroad.com in 2015, we were nominated as a notable mention for the top internship organization. And then in 2016, we actually were the top internship organization from goabroad.com. So those were great honors for us too, and kind of moved up between those 2 years, which is great. So here's a few examples of where we've placed past interns. We don't guarantee a specific company, but we do guarantee a placement in your field. So again, the placement process is very collaborative. It is very individualized. So it's something that takes time and it takes some dedication along with each intern and their program coordinator and their placement coordinator. But here you can just see a couple of examples that I've pulled. We have Chanel, quintessentially, FIFA, even the London 2012 Olympics. So these are just kind of examples of the caliber and really quality of host organizations where we've placed interns in the past. The requirements for the program. We don't have a set list of requirements necessarily, but again, we evaluate each person individually and we look at their educational background, their experiences, their future career ambitions, and really overall their potential. So we do know that not every person has international experiences and even professional experiences in their field, and many times that's the reason they come to us, is because they're seeking that experience to add to their CV. So if you don't have experience in your fields, we are really looking at the potential that you do show. So that's why we don't have a set list of requirements. We really evaluate each candidate individually. That there are different visa requirements though, depending on the destination. So example, in London, you must have a fluency in English. So if you come from a country where English is not a native language or it's not an official language, you would have to take an IELTS and receive a score of 6.5 or higher on that English exam. So that's just one example of a visa requirement. Each country is a bit different, but we have on the website the requirements and the eligibility for each program, so you can see those in more depth on the website. Now, something unique in Madrid and in Berlin, we have roles available in Spanish and German, respectively. So the program itself is geared towards English speakers, but we do have a lot of interns who are studying a different language and want to practice that on a professional scale, on a professional level. So that's available to those who do have those skills and who are able to speak Spanish or German in this case, at a professional intermediate level. But again, the program itself is geared towards English speakers. So if you're interested in Madrid, but you don't speak Spanish, you can still apply for an English role, and the same goes for Germany. And then we're looking for those who have a passion to explore the world and who want to gain hands-on development in their career fields. We'll talk about the program fees now, and they do vary depending on the destination and also on the duration. The initial deposit, however, is going to be the same regardless of the destination or the duration, and it is 500 British pounds. So that deposit would then be deducted from the overall program fee. It is not anything extra, and it just really secures your spot into the program and begins the placement and the visa processes. So once you did place that deposit, that means that nobody would be able to take your spot. It would be yours officially, and it would, begin the entire program of finding your housing, getting your placement, your visa, everything would begin at that point. Again, you would have a guaranteed placement though if you are accepted. So if we couldn't place you for some reason after you were accepted, you would receive a full refund on your money. That's very unlikely because typically we don't accept anyone into the program who we don't think we could place and who we don't think we would have a great placement for. But if it did happen, we would refund your money. And all programs found on our website. Now, why is there a program fee is a great question. So our program does provide an entire experience. So it's not just the international internship, but it's also the accommodation. It's the cultural events, the social events, the professional development, the visa assistance, everything that is included in the program is covered really, and that's why there is a program fee. So you can see here in this graphic, it's broken down into a couple of chunks, I guess, of where that program fee does go. You can see here the majority is the accommodation, so about 40 to 55% would be going towards the accommodation, and then it's broken down into the professional services, the transportation, the events, community, and technology. So what happens if you apply for the program, you have your interview, you're accepted, and then you would confirm your spot? So once we would receive that deposit, that would mean your place in the program is confirmed. In the placement process with our local team, so that the team who live in the country that you would be interning in, that would begin at that point. And then typically you would have your role confirmed 4 to 8 weeks prior to your arrival. So again, you would go through that extensive placement process with our local teams to find a host company that really suits you and your background and what you're looking for and your future career ambitions. So that does take time, but typically that confirmation would come 4 to 8 weeks prior to the arrival. And you can apply on our website, which is linked here. So it's www.theinterngroup.com/apply now. But basically, if you go to the website, there's a green button in the upper right-hand corner that says apply now, and you can click there and fill out the application. And we also have phone numbers. So you can reach us in a US number, a UK number, and also an Australia number. And you can also email us, of course, too. So that email goes directly to me. That's info@theinterngroup.com, and I'm very happy to answer any questions, to go over anything, and to speak about our programs to anybody who has any remaining questions that didn't get answered today. So I have a couple of news outlets here that we've been featured in. We'll start here in the upper left-hand corner. That is a feature that we were in Forbes magazine, and that team of 4 women, that's our Columbia team. We were also in Times, we've been on CNN, and also these 2 down here at the bottom, we have goabroad.com and gooverseas.com, and these are review websites, and all the reviews are written by our alumni. So I always recommend these sites for people who are wanting just a little bit more kind of firsthand insight about what it's like to be an intern, what the program entails, what you can expect. These are completely unbiased reviews written by, again, our alumni, so it's a great place to start when gathering more information about our programs. And speaking of our alumni, we do have alumni testimonials on our YouTube channel, which you can see linked above. So that channel has videos from all of our program destinations, and it's kind of even a step further past an alumni review and an actual, visual of what it's like to be an intern, where their internship is, kind of a typical day in the life of an intern on our program. So I've pulled a few here. The first is from Chloe, and she interned for us in London with a theater internship. And she said, living and interning in London has taught me that I'm a very adaptable person who really wants to travel. I've decided that I really want to join a touring company and travel around the world. And then below we have Kimberly, who interned for us in Madrid, and she did a PR and marketing internship. And she says, it builds a sense of confidence and it's just fun to be in a new location. I would never change this experience for the world. I don't regret a thing. So again, these are just two that I've pulled regarding our European locations, but we have many more on our YouTube channel. And we're also on social media. So apart from YouTube, you can find us on Facebook, we're on Twitter and Instagram, and we're also on Spotify down at the bottom. So that's kind of a cool way to connect with us via music. If you're a musical person, we have different playlists from all of our destinations. So it's a cool way to hear music that you probably haven't heard or might not have heard from the different locations that we're interested in, or that we have as locations that you might be interested in, excuse me. So from Shanghai to Colombia, we have these local playlists that are updated constantly. And then we're also on Snapchat. So Snapchat gets moved every week to a different destination, and you can watch our stories. So we just show what our interns are up to. We, tape the events that are happening, what's going on in the cities. So that's another way to just kind of interact with our team and to see what's happening in country and to get an idea of what's happening all over the world. Okay, so thank you. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in today. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or give us a call. And I want to say thank you for your attention and for listening to me today talk about our programs. Again, my name's Kaylee, so if you want to get in touch with me, please do so, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.